Daf Hashavua, we're on Daf Ches, Amud Aleph. We on the bottom of Zayin Amud Beis, Moed Katan. We mentioned a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rebbe, and the Gemara brings down two psukim that teaches us that we could push off the kain from singing the tzaras. The first pasuk is U'v'yoyim he'ra'is by, on the day that the kain sees it. The Brisa says, I'm going to start from the Brisa on Zayin Amud Beis. The Gemara says, "L'meimer the b'kain talya milsa." You're telling me that it's totally on the kain. It's dependent on the kain seeing it. Vatani b'yayim he'ra'is by, on the day that it's seen by him. Yesh yayim shataroi by, v'yeshem shataroi by. There's a day that he sees it and days that he doesn't see it. Meaning we could push him off. If you have a chasen, you're able to push him off. I'm just going to run through it a little bit, shakvataria, and so too by regel. You give it 7 days of the regel, you wait, if let's say it happens on Erev Yantif, you wait till after Yantif. That's what Rabbi Yehuda says. Rebbe says he has a different pasuk. V'tziva koyin, it says when you have tzaras on a nega, on a house. V'tziva koyin upino sabayis, that you tell the koyin, wait outside, don't come in to tell us if the house has tzaras, because we first want to take things out of the house so they don't become tummy. Mamtino le'dvar rishus, if we're allowed to make the koyin wait for something that's a dvar rishus, that's not a mitzvah. Kol shken l'dvar mitzvah, all the more so we could do it for a chasen or for the regel. So Gemara asks, "My benayu," 3 lines from the bottom. Amar Abai mashmori starshin benayu. It's just a difference of how they learn the psukim, but everyone agrees you could make the kohen wait both for a rishus, both for things that aren't a mitzvah or for a mitzvah. But Rava Amar Dvar Rishus benayu. No, the machlokes between fundamental machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rebbe would be that according to Rabbi Yehuda it's only for a mitzvah, and according to Rebbe, he makes a kal v'chomer that if you do it for a house, for private things, for personal things, for sure, for a mitzvah. Taisus mentions, where does Rab Yehuda see that the pasuk Uv'yayim he'ra'is by is only for a mitzvah? So Taisus says, because it says Uv'yayim he'ra'is by, it's dependent on the day. Only mitzvahs are dependent on a day. You have Yantiv, and you have so therefore, that just like Yantiv is dependent on a specific day, that's what the pasuk hints to when it says we can make the kohen wait. And so too, Taisa says it would be the same case by a chasen. Says the Gemara, bottom line of Zayin Amud Beis, Rabbi Yehuda me'asam le'gamrinan. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't learn it from the house, from the tziva kohen. He learns it v'yayim he'ra'is by me'asam le'gamrinan. He can't learn it from the case of the house. The chidushu, because it's a chidush, because it's a novel case that the Torah da'itzam avanim ba'amalei metamu. Usually eitzim avanim don't become tamei, and here the Torah says by the house it would become tamei. So machlokes rishonim, what it's referring to. Rashi says pshuta kileitz le mekabel tuma. Usually things that are not kalim are not mekabel tuma, and here they are going to be mekabel tuma, either the house itself or eitzim avanim in the house. V'hacha metamu, and here they're going to become tamei. So therefore, you wouldn't be able to learn from the case of the tziva hakoyin upino asvais, from the case of the house. So therefore he needs the pasuk of ubiyayim he'ra'is by to teach us this din. Says the Gemara, Vayta v'Rebbe Amar, well, Rebbe tell us itzrich, we need both psukim. Dikas rachman ubiyayim he'ra'is by. If I would only have the pasuk of ubiyayim he'ra'is by, have a mina l'dvar mitzvah l'dvar rishus loy, I would only know for a dvar mitzvah, not for a dvar rishus. Kas rachmana v'tziva koyin. So therefore we need v'tziva koyin to tell us even for a rishus, even for a personal matter. That's not a mitzvah. You're allowed to make the koyin wait. Because rachmana v'tziva koyin, if we would have said v'tziva koyin, have a mina hani in the lav tuma de gufe. You know why it works by v'tziva koyin by the house? Because it's not tuma de gufe. But tuma de gufe, aval tuma de gufe, emem mechsi chazile. But tuma de gufe, I think you have to show the koyin right away. Says Rashi adds, because it's a chiddush. He agrees, according to Rashi, Rebbe agrees to Rabbi Yehuda, that since it's a chiddush, even though without the chiddush we would have been able to learn gufay from a tzaras on the guf from tzaras on the house. But since it's a chiddush, you can't. So therefore, we can't learn gufay from the case of the bias. So therefore, you need the other pasuk of V'yayim Erois by, which is teaching us that even tzaras on a guf, we make you wait by mitzvah. And Rashi says, since we know that we make you wait by a mitzvah by guf, therefore that shows us that that guf you could make the kohen wait by guf. So therefore we could learn even by when someone has something, a reshus, where their guf is becoming tameh, where it's having tzaras, like let's say they want to go on vacation or they want to do something else, then you're allowed to, and they need to push off. They already bought their flight and they will lose a lot of money. Just making up the case. I don't know exactly if that's the case. Then we learned from bias that gufay of reshus would also become tameh. That's how Rashi explains the Gemara. Says the Gemara, tzricha. Aval toma de gufay machazel tzricha. So we need both. So come on, Mar. We learned earlier. Let's try to move quickly. Yeshem shatoraya boy. Yeshem shatoraya boy. There's a day that you could show, and there's a day that you don't show the kohen. Meaning you're allowed to push him off. My mashma. How do you see it from the pasuk of uviyayim herois boy? Amar abayim kelach t'brachmana bayoyim. It should just say bayoyim herois boy. The day that it's seen. My ubayim, what's the extra of ubayim? Shma mina yeshem shatorei boy, yeshem she'iatorei boy. The extra of tells us that we push off the kohen. There's a day that you don't need to show him. Meaning there are certain times that we don't show the kohen the tzras. We push him off. Rava Amar. Rava says kula kro yiseru. The whole word ubayim is extra. It should just say. It didn't have to say ubayim at all. Dim kain lichtav rachmana ubeirois, when it's seen by the kohen, my ubayim, and the day that it's seen by the kohen. Shema mina. So we see from here yeshem shatorei by yeshem shatorei by. There's a day when you show him. There's a day when we push him off. That you don't show him. Babaya. Why does he need the extra? Why is he only darshan the vav? Why does he need the extra bayim? The extra bayim tells us that you show tzaras by day and you can't show tzaras by night, when you have to see it from candlelight, or by a non something that's not natural, by just seeing it straight like by daylight. V'rava bayim v'loy b'layla minole. How does he know? Since he learns bayim to teach us the whole din, the whole extra. The word bayim is extra that teaches that you don't always show the kohen. So how does he know bayim v'layla? Nafkle, he learns from a different pasuk that says milchol marein kohen. From anything that the eye of a kohen could see. So you see, it has to be that the eye of the kohen has to be able to see it. V'abaya, and how does abaya, the eyes of the kohen, plural. We learn from that he has to actually see it. V'abaya, what does he do from the second pasuk? The einei kohen, the eyes of the kohen. It teaches us that if someone is blind in one eye, the kohen, he won't be able to look and paskin on tzaras, because it says from that which the eyes of the kohen could see. Rav also needs milchol marein kohen to tell us that if someone's blind in one eye, a kohen, he can't paskin. He says marein chanami. You're right, it's true. So milchol marein kohen, he needs for the same reason as Abaya. So therefore, how does he know that you could only show the kohen the mara by yom v'la minole? How does he know it? Nafkle, he learns it from a different pasuk. When the person who owns the house comes to the kohen, he says, "Mikinega niroli babayis." It seems to me that there's a neg in my house. It seems to me, and not through. I saw it myself with my eyes, naturally, and not through light. What does that have to do with the kohen? Well, that's the guy that owns the house. But what about how does that show that the kohen has to see it? So Rashi has his kasha, and Rashi says because ubahu shaitanami uba kohen. At the same time, he comes to the kohen, and the kohen tells him alma dein roin el bayom. So you see, you only show it by day. Babaya, what does he do with that pasuk? Mikenega nearly babayis. He has an extra pasuk. Says Abaya imei asam. If it would be over there, if I would have only learned it from my personal pasuk of ubayom erois by, I might think that's only tuma that's not gufei. That you could show it, you have to show it by day. Aval tuma de gufei, that's more chamor. I feel you might think you have to show it right away, even if it's by night. A few loira, you should show right away even at night. Nami also, Kamash Malon, comes along the pasuk of Yilachol Mikenega nearly Babayis that teaches us that you can only see it by day. Zakta Mishnah Vaiter. Rameir said in the previous Mishnah. You show the kohen the negayim only for him to say tar, not tamei. So on that the Mishnah says, Rameir says another din here. Malakid adam at samois of avimai. A person's allowed to gather together. If let's say his father and mother weren't buried in the family base akvaris, in the family where the family was buried. So usually the family's buried together, at least in times of the Gemara. Today also very often. He's allowed to gather them together and rebury them in his family burial plot. Because it's a simcha for him. So you're allowed to do that even on Chol HaMoed. Rabbi Yossi Amrev says, Avulai. It's not, it's aveilus for him. He can't do that. Zok the Mishnah Vaita, two more halachas. Lo ya'orer adam al mesa. A person shouldn't hire someone to be ma'orer, to inspire people to cry on their mace. They hired someone to cry and say, what does Rashi say? Rashi says, in mace lo mace chaydish chadshayim kaidem hamoed lo ya'arer farish merkat of a saftan marava klemishal yisker saftan. You shouldn't rent someone that does eulogies. Lasal Kroiv, to go to the relatives. Leimer, b'chui me, cry with me. Kol Marinovich. He was I don't know if he was an actor, but he was someone that used to get the family to cry, to feel bad on the mace. You shouldn't inspire people to cry on the mace. Or to have them have this person eulogize your mace if it was kaidim l'regel shleishim yayim. If they died before the regel 30 days, the Gemara is going to explain why you shouldn't do these things 30 days before. Frek the Gemara. Now the Gemara has a kasha on Rameir. That Rameir says that is a machlekes Rameir and Rabbi Yossi. Rameir says you're allowed to gather a parent's bones together because it's a simcha. Frek the Gemara and Rabbi Yossi argues. Uraminu ales you steer from a brayso. You're allowed to gather the bones of your father and a mother during the weekday. When you do that, you have to be misabel on them. You sit shiva kol hayom that day. Ula erev, and at night a misabel aleim. You're done one day. One day is anyway the shiva midayraisa. Amar Rab Chisda afilu tzurum b'sadinai. Rab Chisda adds a very important chumrah that Rab Chisda adds. It's a totally separate thing. If for whatever reason the bones were never buried and they're still in a cloth together and they were never buried, even if you can't see them, the person has to be misabel on them for whatever amount of time until they're buried. Fiu tzurum b'sadinai, that's not needed for the kasha, but basically the kasha is how could Rameir say that what? That malakid adam atzvasav v'ima, it's a simcha when the Brisa says it's a avelos. So they ask that what do you mean? You could just answer it's Rabbi Yossi. The Gemara could have answered that. So says Taisus. Taisus asked the kasha. Taisus bleib shver. Okay. Amar Abaya aim v'neisha simcha regulav. When it says in the Mishnah that Rameir says you can be malakit the aviv imay v'neisha simchi lai, doesn't mean it's a simcha to bury his parents, to rebury his parents, even though that's what we thought originally, that it's a simcha to rebury them. V'neisha simchas haregel alav, because since the regel is such a big simcha on him, it won't get ruined by the fact that he's burying his parents. Kolaimer says Rashi here, even though it is a tsar, he won't have such a tsar on Yom Tif because he has such a simcha. And you shouldn't hire someone to inspire someone to cry on their mace. Just like they used to do in the people who did eulogies, b'marava in the West, in Eretz Yisrael. Amri, when they used to get people to hire people to make a hesped, Amri, they used to say, Yivkun ime, kol marire libe. They used to cry out, and they used to say, cry out with him, all the people that are bitter in their hearts over the mace, cry, cry, cry. That they shouldn't do on Moed. Kaidam regel shoishim yaim, I think we're just going to stop after this. Why 30 days? Amar Rav Kahana, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav. Two pshatim. Either Rav Kahana or Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav. Maisa b'adam echad. The reason you don't do 30 days, this is a maisa with a person. Shekines mois la'aleis l'regel. Since we usually speak out the halachas of the regel 30 days before, so that's a time when people start gathering money to put away to be able to travel to be oil regel to go up to Yerushalayim. So he put away money. He bought saftan, and a guy came and did a eulogy. V'amar al Pesach Beis. He stood by the person's house. V'nutlasan ishtai. Someone had died in the family. V'nutlasan ishtai v'nasaloi. The lady felt bad or pressure. She gave the guy who did the eulogy money. She looked around. She found the money that her husband had put away to be oil regel and gave it to the person. V'nasnasan loi. Vinasnasan loy, and she gave it to him. Vinimna minitnasan loy. Vinimna, and then they were prevented v'loy ola, and they didn't go up to Be'el Regel. Well, Isa Shah at that time, Armu, they said, we don't want this to happen again. Lo yara al meisai. As far off as it seems, they said that a person shouldn't be ma'ir, pay someone to be ma'ir on his mace, and he shouldn't hire someone for eulogies, because people would end up somehow losing the money to be the not be oil regel. Shmuel Amar Wamer Pshat. Let's get up to the Mishnah. A mace is not forgotten from the heart 30 days, and therefore, since a mace is not forgotten from the heart 30 days, says Rashi, if you're going to hire someone less than 30 days, then you're going to end up doing hesped during the regel, because you didn't yet forget. He did the hesped before the regel, but you're going to speak about the mace even during the regel. My benai, what's the difference between Rav and Shmuel? If you have someone who, difference in halach would be, let's say you have someone to do it for free. So according to the mandama that was scared you're going to use up your money and not go to B'ayla Regel, it's not a problem. And according to the mandamar, because you're going to still be sad on Yantif, then you shouldn't do it. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. We'll finish up Chesam and Beis tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.